My first time in Croatia. Over the next week, I'm gonna take you along on this adventure. We're gonna go to Dubrovnik, to Split, and I'm gonna share with you the pros and cons of traveling through the country. I'm gonna go kayaking, we're gonna do a boat trip, and today's video was brought to you by Get Your Guide. Let's dive in.
Good morning from Croatia, from the city of Split. I just arrived yesterday, so I want to take you along on a bit of a tour, a bit of an impression. Tomorrow, most likely, we're going to be hopping on a boat to go around the area. As you can clearly see, Split, definitely a port town. Mostly, I would say, most of these boats are boat tours. I'll be looking later into which tour I'll be doing tomorrow, but generally, quite a nice vibe. We got some orange Vespa scooters standing. We got ancient old town with lots of cafes, which is going to be the mission right now. Just find a cafe. It's a mix of locals and tourists. For whatever reason, there's a Porsche Taycan right in the middle of the old town here, so you can buy some souvenirs here. People are having some nice drinks. Beautiful weather in late October, so I would say that definitely speaks for the place in many ways. There's a monument of Marko Marulic, 1415 to 1524. So that would suggest that most likely this old town has been here for like half a millennia, over 500 years. Okay, so walk through the old town is quite interesting. You know, parts of it very touristy, lots of groups, but it's fairly large. So also you often walk into like a really quiet side streets. In terms of coffee shops, that looks very, very promising. Let's see what we can get. So, all right, I think gonna be going for a little cappuccino. So, little seating area in the back. A lot of people with computers, always a good sign. And I think this is somewhat connected to it. So, let's see if we can find some spot.
So after getting an idea of the old town of Split, I would say let's hop on a boat. Let's head out there because the best is really on the surrounding islands. Especially the last stop we're gonna do, the island of Hvar. You really have to see it. But first, let me share for a second how I found this tour.
You see, back in the day, I was always a bit hesitant to get a tour. On the one side, you ask yourself, how is it gonna be? On the other hand, what if last minute you want to cancel, it just doesn't work out? This is where Get Your Guide comes in. So it's very simple. Either you install the app on your phone or go to the website. Over 3,600 destinations, main tourist spots, and all kinds of different tours. So personally, in Dubrovnik, I did the kayaking tour. It was absolutely amazing. Here we're doing the boat tour. All of them I found on the app. Book through it, very simple. And the best thing is, if by any chance you have to call the activity off, you can do it at least 24 hours in advance, sometimes even shorter. The customer service is 24/7 if you have any issues. Pricing is very competitive, sometimes depending where you go, even more affordable than getting a tour on the ground. Much more straightforward, much safer. GetYourGuide.com. I'll link it below. Oh, I think I see our boat. There it is. Yeah. Interesting. Check it out. That's gonna be quite a bit more extreme than expected. There's our boat. So guys, we have made it. Let's chat in a second. Gonna be the first famous stop. This is gonna be our next boat. Unfortunately not.
Until here. When you see your number up there, please.
First of all, the boat ride has been very different than I thought. Really bumpy, but in a really fun way. So it's almost like a roller coaster. The boat was built for that. So even if it gets a bit bumpy, you can hold on. It's actually fairly comfortable. There was music on the boat. That was actually quite crazy. Oldies, 80s, 90s. Californication. And this stop right now is gonna be the first stop, I think, of 4 or 5. Afterwards, I think we're gonna be going to the big city over there. So there's actually a bunch of cities on these islands, which I'm really excited about. So first stop, the place is called Blue Cave. So we're gonna be riding off on one of these.
And on opposite side is the town Wiesen. Croatia used to produce tons upon tons of fish every day.
And so I'm welcoming you to the sleepy fisherman's village. I think the island is called Kis. This is the first main stop of today's tour. And the Blue Cave. Basically, you're going in there with one of the local boats. And yeah, the cave is actually really blue inside. I think it's just kind of like the water from down below getting into it on a sunny day, and it was super blue. So many times when you go to a place like that, it's not as blue as they tell you, but on this note, it actually really was. So we're walking around here a little bit. I really wonder how many people live on here, because there's proper streets. Like, this is a fairly small island. Like, I knew that around Split there's a lot of different islands, but what I didn't know is of how much development and life there is on them, and not just recently. So this island over here has been colonized by the Greeks for quite a while. It used to be a huge fisherman's hub. And actually our guy just said that Mamma Mia 2 has been filmed here, so that's quite interesting, even though it's supposed to be set in Greece. But yeah, I guess that's kind of like where the Greek vibes are coming from. Hello, hello, yo. Fell down. Oh. Beautiful island, and if you go a little bit into the side streets, on the one side you have these really nice houses, you're looking into the far, seeing the ocean. On the other hand, you have also like really like more residentials building, even almost like 3-4 floors. So yeah, let's see if we can find a little bit of a coffee, see where my tour is. Really good vibe so far also. So made it back down to the port of Komica. That's actually fairly busy if you look at it. So of course, follow the locals, they know what is good, the local cats. Look at them.
Look at him, look at him.
Oh, watch out! I'm
Thank you. But I was like, no way somebody's gonna go swim today.
well, it looks like you gotta wear your regular shorts in the water.
He's got his undies.
What regular shorts?
Yeah, it's gonna be very cold, I think.
Oh, it's gonna be freezing.
I guess
Emily,
so.
just get in.
If we're doing it, we're doing it.
I am. You're the one with jeans. I'm taking
So 20 degrees. Looks like gonna be swimming. Oh, there we are. I was about not to come, but I was afraid to be shamed. Woo! So yeah, that escalated quickly. Let's say it like that. So we made it onto, yeah, bay, third stop of the day. Had to jump in, a little bit cold, nice refresher. So here's a bit of, like, say, they said it used to be a cave, but then it kind of like collapsed. So now it's a bit of a bay.
Wim Hof?
Wim Hof. It's like a guy who lives in Poland. He does like, very famous for like cold therapy.
Oh, really?
Like climbing up mountains in underwear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not my thing.
you. Next island for the day.
So hopped off the boat. We are at a place that is called the Pakleni Islands. So I think the driver said around 16 islands. If I just took the drone up, you really see it, looks super cool. So there's a nice little beach, so some time to swim. And afterwards, we're gonna be visiting probably my favorite so far island of the day. And in many ways the absolute highlight of the tour, the city of Hvar. So just walked up to the castle to get a bit of a better view of the city. So I've already been to Dubrovnik, and I can say that this city on my list definitely can very much compete with it in terms of the aesthetic, just the way it's made. Super nice and busy, alive, so many places to check out. So yeah, got a bit of a view. Let's go down, let's find the coffee, and let me tour you a little bit around Hvar. So here we are strolling through the windy port of Hvar. So the thing you obviously cannot miss are the huge yachts, or let's say charter boats on the pier. So on the side you get like nice restaurants, and especially the old town, if you go all the way back, kind of like where we docked on with the Get Your Guide boat, there's like a really nice atmosphere. So I would say here, the walking path, I would say there's probably like 20-30% people that are staying here outside of the locals, which I would say is probably fairly small. And then probably like 40-50% day trippers, like I am right now, just because of the way people like really seem to be using their time. And when you walk on the main square, you're also seeing the castle in the back. Really nice. So to get a bit of a better panoramic view of Hvar, somewhat I would say of a little secret recommendation, just judging from the fact that there's barely people here. We're on the roof of the Adriana Hotel, so I just ordered a cappuccino. We'll see how much it's gonna come out to be. A fairly nice and fancy place, and very often if it's a hotel, people don't really know about it. The roof is fairly like, let's say, a couple people here, good vibe. But on the streets, almost every cafe is absolutely packed, full of people in here, kind of like nice, peaceful. You see absolutely all of the islands that we saw from the ground. So overall, I would say Hvar so far, just aesthetically and from the vibe, is my favorite city in Croatia, definitely. Also to talk a little bit about the boat experience itself. So the Get Your Guide boat, I have to say at first I was not sure exactly what it's gonna be, what kind of a boat it's gonna be. I saw it's a bit of a smaller boat, but I have to say it's actually very, very comfortable because there's kind of like air on the side of it. Our guide said it used to be military vehicles. They're not as bumpy as the usual boat because of the rubber and the air, so even when they go really fast, it's still fairly comfortable. And also you get around very, very fast. And on the other hand, like the 4 stops that you do, I would say is pretty perfect. Like you do an hour. In terms of the aesthetics, boats, 10 out of 10. Croatia so far my favorite. It is a little bit too busy though, I have to say. So if I compare that to other countries like maybe Bosnia and Albania in the neighborhood, somewhat prefer it just because it's a little bit more chill, a little bit more local. But it's hard to beat that aesthetic here. Beautiful. Just one day. Thank you very much. So nice little cappuccino going. Cheers to Hvar. So as of right now, I think on the menu is getting back on a boat. It's going to be around a 1-hour drive back to Split. I have one more day in Croatia. So I would say, let's talk tomorrow morning. Okay, so good morning on another day right now here in Split. So I just came up on the roof of the place that I'm staying, fairly central. I think we're gonna head to the city again, but yeah, just to give you an idea also what money can buy here. So I would say it's kind of like a mid-range, maybe somewhat a bit more on the budget side of an option. Fairly good, not cheap, like $50, $60 a night as of right now for like a simple room. Maybe I'll show you in a second, but the rooftop terrace is really something. Just coming up here a little bit in the morning, you see the old town from here, you see the ocean from here. Okay, so that is the room, nice and small, actually, like super nice. So the place is called Villa Gala. 10-minute walk, no, 3 minutes walk into the old town, and the room itself is actually very brand new, nice bathroom. The wall art, not sure about it, honestly takes a bit away from the room because you see the real deal right there. So we found ourselves a nice little cafe, perhaps. Let's check out what's going on here. Basta, so Italian food, probably a coffee for sure. So we came back out to the port here of Split. So for me it has been like 3 or like let's say 4 days in the city of Split. I have to say it's a large city. The old town is pretty nice and cozy, very busy, but still the city has a charm, and I definitely could see myself coming back here, potentially maybe getting like an apartment for a month or so. It's definitely not the cheapest place in terms of like the area. Balkan country is definitely, because it's very developed, very comfortable, a bit more expensive as you have seen earlier. The boat tour with Get Your Guide has been an absolute blast. I thought it would be cool, interesting, but it was actually like a super action-packed experience. So the boats are really comfortable. On the way back, the waves have been crazy high still. Like nothing crazy, but a lot of fun, I'm telling you. So make sure to check Get Your Guide out as well. I will leave the particular tour as well, just their website. So on this note, I'm going to be enjoying the view here a little bit. And next up, I'll be going to Italy for a couple of days. Going to be meeting some family there, perhaps also capture a bit of that. If by any chance you're new here, well, for the past 5 years, this is my slogan. I've been documenting my life around the idea of building a life of freedom around the world. And Croatia is really one of those places that I feel like offers a good bit more than some other countries, especially in the last 10-20 years. I feel like a lot has been happening here, and yeah, it's a very interesting place. On that note, you're also welcome to join me on Instagram if you just want to keep in touch. Just watch me, like whatever, post some food or a selfie, or every once in a while also give some behind the scenes into what I do and how I do it. And on that note, you too got a world to see.